Hey, Corbos, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you guys here, and I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be talking about rally points today. Great topic, really important topic. We're going to be talking about the placement of them as the attackers and defenders. We're going to talk about some kind of big mistakes that I see new players especially doing, and even some veteran players I see sometimes doing this. And finally, we're going to talk about finding them and what you should do to sniff out the enemy rally points in the game. So without anything else, let's jump right into the game with the attacker rally points first. So if you don't know what rally points are forward spawns for your team. They can be built by any engineer in any squad. You don't have to be an engineer squad or anything like that. And they allow your team to spawn on wherever the rally point is placed. So for attackers, there are a couple different places that I typically try to build them. You don't want to build them too close to the objective, because if enemies are nearby, it'll stop the respawn of the rally point. It'll stop the rally point from functioning, and your team won't be able to use it. So too close and it'll get canceled by enemies nearby. Too far and it doesn't really do its job. So you want to find that kind of sweet spot around 50 or 40 meters, or whatever the distancing in enlisted units are away from an objective. This is a great rally point here in LeBray. Typically speaking, enemies don't really come up here. Your team will dominate this house here, so your team will have a good ability to spawn on that rally point there and then move down to the objective. Now this spot here I don't really like. I'm just giving it as an example of what not to do. You can see here it doesn't have any cover, right? I'm just building it out in the open, and I'm also very close to the objective. This is really high risk, high reward, really high risk, medium reward, because yeah, I'm like 15 meters, a little bit closer to the objective, but enemies could be nearby. They could find it. They could blow it up. It could get blown up by a stray artillery shell. A much better place if you want to have a very aggressive rally point would be on just the opposite side of this wall, where if my team spawns, they have the cover of this wall. They're able to just jump over and begin their assault on the wall. And the wall also gives a small amount of cover from, say, like a stray tank shell or a stray artillery, or even some bombs or something like that. But typically speaking, you want to build them inside buildings, in the second floor of buildings and things like that. More on that in a little bit, on kind of the dangers of also building kind of upstairs or things like that. The next rally point that we can build are what I call flanking rally points. These are great for those players who just want to flank the objective, machine gunners who are going to, lay down and just gun down an entire squad who is trying their best to get into the objective. So this is great for cutting off the reinforcements and allowing that forward first rally point that we talked about to get onto the objective. These guys are the ones who are going to wipe out the reinforcements that are going to be pouring in. These are also great for finding enemy rally points and taking those out as well. Now, you need to be very careful about these ones, because while enemies tend to be more on the, focusing more on moving towards the objective just in a straight line and aren't more on the flanks, enemies will still be on the flanks, and if you aren't careful, you could expose your rally point to the enemies who are just now spawning. So, for example, here, you can see, yeah, I'm still on the flank here, but if I were to build this rally point, the enemies are going to be spawning, and they might just directly see an entire squad spawn on this rally point, and it just completely gives away the position of this rally point. Even just spray shots could take the rally point out. You can see there's an enemy squad moving right here, and this is, of course, a bot game, but a player is going to spot this out very, very quickly, and good players are going to sniff this out basically immediately. So just be aware that when you're building these kind of rally points that are off on the flank, you still want to follow the basic rules of putting them in cover and keeping them, a little bit further back, because a rally point that isn't being used, or a destroyed rally point, is completely worthless to your team. So it's better to have it a little bit further back and have a little bit longer of a walking distance than to just put it too far up and be too aggressive and lose the rally point overall. Now let's move over and start talking about the defenders. So the defenders here, they want to be building the same rally points, just their standard, quick, close to the objective. These can be a little bit closer, because typically speaking, enemies aren't going to move past the objective. So you can build these a little bit closer. You can see this is about 40 away from the objective. Now this is a great rally point here, but on the left side, you kind of do need to be careful, because it is exposed over there. So if you want to drop one sandbag, it can be okay, but this can be really dangerous because it can really give away the position. More on that in a little bit. You can also build, of course, the standard flanking rally points, just like you would. This can be good to cut off the enemy flanks, or just to catch the enemy off guard as they're trying to push into the point, just like the standard flanking rally points for the attackers do. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, just because I'm going through this so quickly here, but The arrow that is pointing down is where the squad leader, the player who spawns, will be staring and will be looking when they spawn. So make sure to point that in the right direction. You can rotate that with R, just like you would with any other engineered deployable. So that can be important. It's not a make or break thing, but it can be decently important. Now, this rally point is a decent rally point for that first objective, but like I said, it's very exposed. So we could instead move this over to this building. But again, these flanking rally points can be very, very dangerous for the attackers to use and to spawn on, and they typically get destroyed very quickly because the attacking team, or excuse me, I think for defenders to build, because attacking teams love to flank, they love to be moving around, and so they can be very hard to defend these forward flanking rally points. But they can still be very, very powerful for holding down a flank. Now, one other rally point you need to be very careful about building, and this is the biggest mistake that I see new players building, is they love to build these attic rally points, or what we typically call them. They're rally points that are built up in these attics of buildings. Players think, oh, it's in an attic, people aren't going to get up here, it's going to be so safe. But what ends up happening is the AI is too dumb to actually come down from that attic. And so what'll happen is you'll have your entire team's AI stuck up there. You can see they're just running around there. One guy fell down, but the rest are just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They can't get down because they're too stupid. They don't want to fall and take damage, even though they won't take damage. And so they just won't jump down from that attic point. And basically, you'll just be sending in all of your AI one by one. And this can also happen whenever you block off rally points with a bunch of sandbags. And yes, it seems very intuitive that you'd want to build sandbags around a rally point and defend a rally point. But there's a couple reasons why this actually isn't a good idea. Because again, it can cut off your AI. It'll make your AI get confused and they won't run around. And the other really important thing is it really, really exposes where your rally point is. A good player will see those sandbags and they will immediately assume there's a rally point there. And yeah, you can kind of do this to trick some really good players out there. But more often than not, I see players who are building sandbags to cover their AI and cover their teammates who just spawned. And yes, that is a good thing to do, typically speaking. But what ends up happening is it just blocks off all of the AI. And so you can see here, yeah, we're kind of a little bit safer. But again, a good player is just going to see this and they're going to run up and they're going to throw an explosive pack at it. And they're going to blow up either a bunch of your friendly teammates and things like that. Or at best, they just get the rally point. So just keep that in mind when you're building these rally points. It can be very, very dangerous to do that. Now, to just showcase kind of what I was talking about there and how easy it can be to sniff out rally points if they're not placed very well. Here you can see, I see this sandbag and I'm like, yep, definitely something weird about a sandbag being in the middle of the road next to that, cover there. And then boom, bunch of dudes just pop out of it out of nowhere. And I'm like, yep, obviously a rally point right there. If you see a bunch of dudes pop out of the ground out of absolutely nowhere, definitely a rally point over there. Mark it for your team, start trying to push it, get rid of it as soon as you can. Now, another important thing for rally points is rally points give off a very telltale kind of radio buzzing noise. You'll know it when you hear it. Only enemy rally points give this off. Your friendly rally points will not give it off to you. Obviously, it will for the enemy, but that's a good way of sniffing them out as well. The other way, and this is kind of a big brain 300 IQ, at least something that I don't think a lot of people realize, is if you're killing the same player over and over again, and it doesn't make sense because you killed Billy Bob one time and then 45 seconds later you killed him again, his entire squad again. It doesn't make sense that he would be able to get back to wherever you guys are fighting that quickly, right? He should have to wait 10 seconds or 15 seconds to respawn and then also have to run all the way back from spawn. So that means there's definitely a rally point nearby that you should be quickly looking around to find. So that's kind of a little thing that I don't think a lot of people realize, but can be a very good way of knowing, hey, there's a rally point somewhere around here. So that's it for my basic tips for rally points here, guys. There are so many things that I could talk about with rally points and rally point placement, things like that. These were just kind of the basic ideas. Let me know your guys' tips that you guys might have for other players down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them, and I'd love for people to share those with everybody. As for actual rally point placement, some cheeky rally points and things like that, I'll have those in later map guides. Now that custom games are out, it's a little bit easier to do stuff like that. So keep an eye out for those in some future videos. But without anything else, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, you can come follow me, twitch.tv/HeyQuadra. I'd love to hang out with you guys over there and chat with you. You can also join our community Discord. The link for that is down in the description below. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.